the end of Mudryk.
Okay, 9 months ago I did a video about Mudryk, and this was even before his doping ban even came up back in December. Mudryk is an interesting character. He's someone who I find unintentionally funny. Often seeing his random videos or tweets or things about Mudryk that he puts up on his Instagram.
Okay, I didn't know of Mudryk being funny, but you know, we're learning something new today.
Which I just can't help but like the guy. I mean, my God, his lineup photo for all the Premier League games is literally this. Are you serious? The Chelsea Club account sent a question to him saying, what's one thing you're taking back?
That's dope though. This, you know, when he puts his... Yeah, that's dope. I ain't gonna lie. I have to give it to him, you know. That's dope.
I come from America, and Mudryk said, books. And that's it. My favourite was when he gave a fan a Haribo before the match. So, I think we all know what's going on here. Now, my video about Mudryk was even before his doping ban even happened. So, I wanted to know what happened before I spoke about him again. We've got the news. It's not good. Yes, Mudryk has been charged by the FA for breaching anti-doping rules. He's currently been out of football for what seems like 6 months now, and it's potential that he could be out for even longer, for a year, maybe even 4 years. He's got the same lawyer as the Paul Pogba case, so there's a chance that he may get given 4 years and eventually may get cut down to maybe 18 months or so. Now, I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of what the exact case is. He peed into a cup for a drugs test, and he's got some prohibited substance in his body, which he shouldn't have in there. His statement was, I don't know how it got in there, and
yeah, we always don't know how it's in there, but somehow it's in there, you know. So you see this, you know, you see what makes it so disappointing for me is that Mudryk was very talented. He showed flashes of talent at Shakhtar Donetsk. Like, I really thought when he came over to Chelsea from Shakhtar, he was going to be a difference maker. He was going to be a game changer. He came over rough start from the beginning, from he came over to England. But sometimes, you know, he would score a goal. Sometimes there would be, you know, that spark that he showed at Shakhtar. And he was young. But this stunts your career before it even starts. And this is very, very, very saddening, honestly. Like, I had high hopes for him. Still wishing him the best, but, you know, right now it's not looking too good.
He never knowingly took any substances, and, well, if it was on purpose or not, I guess by the judgment of the FA, they deemed that he did. Now, this precise substance is something called meldonium, which is something which he got from a drugs test from coming back from Ukraine. And
I don't know what that is. That's the first. That sounds like something straight out of Breaking Lab, like meldonium. I don't even know if I said it right. What's that? Is that a pill? Is that a needle? How do you even take that? You sure that's something to kill you? What's that?
November. So maybe he went to Ukraine, was with friends or family or doctors, I don't know, and took something over there. And this precise substance can help with, as it says, for athletes, assist with endurance or recovery from exercise. Again, does he need to take this? Probably not. Do I think he knowingly took this? I'll be honest, probably not. So comment down below your thoughts on Mudryk, because I think one important thing to highlight here, because I think it is worth adding in, is of course the Ukrainian angle as well, where of course him being Ukrainian doesn't mean he should therefore take banned substances, but I think the situation he was thrown in, the media hype as well from Chelsea and Arsenal, and he's not really been dealing with it fantastically since he's come to England. There's been a lot of stress, I feel like. But comment down below your thoughts, like and subscribe, and Mazzola Designs for the best prints all made by myself. I actually do have a Mudryk print from the goal that sent to Ukraine to the European Championships, so go and check that out as well. Use code VISA for 15% off all items. So what happens now? So the last time he played for Chelsea was against Edenheim on November 28th, 2024 in the Conference League. And since he joined Chelsea, of course, they've been under some different managers. Of course, he's played under Potter. He's played under Poch. He's now, of course, playing under Enzo Maresca. He's scored 10 goals in 73 appearances.
Wow.
One time period, he literally had like weeks upon weeks without scoring in the Premier League. Or at all. I remember that goal he scored away at Fulham at Craven Cottage, and that became like a very important moment for him. And kind of nothing really happened again since. That first game against Liverpool when he got subbed on was the game that...
Hey, that was a meme. Like, he went from doing something good to doing something bad, like, in mere seconds. That game was like a flash, like, bro was out there, you know, memeing. Even worse than, you know, what's his name? Reggie? Yeah. Girl, he funny, yeah. Memeing out there worse than him. It's crazy, bro.
Everyone can remember, but not much since. Other highlights, maybe Newcastle in the Cup, but that came from a big mistake from Kieran Trippier. Other than that, it's been here or there. When I watched him either against Burnley, my team, so I've watched the full 90 minutes, or against games I've seen for Chelsea, he's incredibly exciting on the ball, I find. Very athletically raw. His ability to take on a man or to use his pace to get in behind. He's got this ball striking ability, I find. He's got a certain cross that he typically always tries to do. That
yeah, he has very good qualities about him, which is why I thought, you know, he would, you know, shot at least be near to, like, I know it might sound weird, but like at least a Phil Foden level, or a little bit like a Phil Foden Saka level, because he has the talent, but you know, it's not been shown in his performances, which is why I get, you know, why, you know, me saying that sounds crazy, but the talent is there. It's just the performances and the consistency. Yeah.
Really dangerous, but it's always, is it the right time to the cross? Does he shoot when he's meant to pass, and does he pass when he's meant to shoot? It's the intelligence, the kind of decision-making part of his game that is a main issue. That too true. Many young players, predominantly wingers, and especially those from overseas that may not be raised in an academy which is maybe at the top level, because potentially just in Ukraine, his raw elite level athleticism can probably get him to the top of the game, which it did just with that alone in the academy system, or even on professional senior level, which he did for Shakhtar Donetsk. Of course, in the Premier League, when he's facing against actual technical players on a different level to him, that's when, of course, it's a bit more, you need more to your arsenal than just pure athletic ability. And I did say the word Arsenal there on purpose, as this was the entire drama between Mudryk and Chelsea back in January of 2023. It was Arsenal that was convinced that they were going to sign him. He was expected to join Arsenal, and then Chelsea, with of course all the memes about Todd Bowley and everyone involved in there, comes in, sweeps in, and takes one of the main players. This was a player which absolutely shone for Donetsk in the Champions League, 3 goals, 2 assists in 6 matches, and of course starred in games against Real Madrid. Of course impressing in the Ukrainian Premier League, but you may say that should be more of a given. But 7 goals and 6 assists, only halfway through that campaign is still a decent effort for what was at that stage a 19-year-old, I believe. And back home, Mudryk has also been a hero for his national team, on and off the football pitch. As the war's gone on, he of course sent Ukraine to the European Championships, and of course came very close to going to the World Cup in Qatar. Everyone remembers when he came out with the Ukrainian flag around him. Everyone remembers because he was one of the first players on a massive deal, the 7.5-year deal with an option of 12 months. I believe that 12 months was also added on as well over time. Of course, there's the human element as well. The idea of him going to Arsenal would make more sense, of course, at the time Alexander Shevchenko was, of course, at the club. A Ukrainian teammate, of course, someone's Ukrainian and can help him integrate into the culture in England. Of course, he had to move away from home, away from his friends and family, leaving them in a war zone, basically. And this may come across...
That must be very, very tough to do. You know, think about, you know, you're here in England, you know, couple miles away and so forth from your home country, Ukraine, where there's a war and your family there, they might be texting you and so forth, telling you, you know, you're not doing well, this and that. It's a lot comes with, being at the top of football, even with life itself. So it's a lot to deal with. We all have to deal with it. We all have to go through it. Not saying, it's an excuse for him to have bad performances, but it can be a factor in it, in why, mentally maybe he's not focused as he should be, but, you have to overcome, especially for Chelsea, a club like Chelsea, who always are going to hit the media. These guys don't have no mercy in the English pundit team.
But from a human element, this cannot be ignored. And if he went to Arsenal, he would absolutely be more at home there. At Chelsea, it is rumoured that he is much more of a lone figure there. No one, of course, speaks Ukrainian. He doesn't speak particularly great English. And it was always rumoured to be a quiet person anyway, but it made it much harder for him to really feel part of the team. And that is important, that it is seen as a given that anyone that comes to England, to Premier League, must also speak English. And they will, eventually, you'd imagine. Potter seemed like he really wanted Mudryk, but of course was sacked only 2-3 months later. Poch spoke about how highly he rated him, and in the next week spoke about how frustrated he was about him, and then dropped him. The words from Poch was this: I think Mudryk is a young guy who arrived here 1 year ago. We know the circumstances around the transfer. Of course, he needs to improve. He has amazing quality and potential, but it's a team game. It's not tennis. And Mudryk is, of course, aware of this himself.
So he's trying to, say that Mudryk is thinking more individualized. He's not thinking about the team. He's not, it's about him first more than, how can I do this for my teammates? How can which decision is better for the team? And I would say, there's truth to it because, as I said, his decision making, I did agree with his decision making is poor at times, poor.
Coming out as well saying that sometimes you want something so bad but only at the right time. Will it happen? You can try too hard, so you have to find a balance between that and not trying at all. When you find a balance, you will find success. I'm confident that you will see the best of me over time. Beforehand, he was usually on Instagram posting pictures of him at the gym, usually always working, lifting weights somewhere. And this may sound really bad, but I'm not sure if it's due to people saying that he's unintelligent and not got football intelligence of the game, or it's a language barrier. I imagine they should have someone there that should know Ukrainian by now, you'd imagine. However, it seems that he doesn't just simply understand what he's being told to do. Enzo Maresca coming out back during the Carabao Cup against Barrow saying, Misha is Misha, you have to accept the way he is. Highlighting that Mudryk was taking tactical instruction slower than the other players, both attacking-wise and defensively, which is why he's just started one game at that stage. And that's why due to the squad that he became pretty much a Conference League player. So yeah, that's Mudryk. I did see a few comments. One guy highlighting that one strange thing he found about Mudryk is that if you look through social media is that before he joined Chelsea, he seemed to do a lot of posts about him sprinting with his trainer and to be very focused on sprint training and really getting that speed up, which is a good thing for a winger, but it seemed like a big area that he was particularly focused on. One, of course, more online seems to be more about him with more weight training. That's also helpful as well. I think this isn't a big deal just because he showcased more of his personal life and more of his training than other players. You'd imagine other players would also be doing something similar as well. But I get the idea. People may say that he should be focusing more on understanding the game more than trying to improve his speed. Mudryk is kind of similar to a Darwin Núñez, which feels like, I don't know if that's offensive to say or not, but they kind of, for me, are similar, where they have just real athletic ability, but just that knowledge of the game seems to be lacking there. They both seem to get crazy, a bit on edge, and that's why they're kind of lovable, because Asian chaos is what Núñez is, and I guess Mudryk's the same, where it's kind of you just don't know what they're going to do next. I feel like they've both got that same kind of energy, and yeah, I kind of see Mudryk in a similar way to how I would see a Darwin Núñez, which is a shame if this is how it's going to end. I feel like it won't. I feel like their suspension will get shortened. I doubt he'll still be at Chelsea. He'll probably end up playing somewhere in Italy or something, and will probably do relatively decent And also, I just want to say, whoever white boy plays soccer is that put this comment on my video the other day saying, never seen Steve Jobs make a better football video. Crazy to see this so many years after his death. Just to you, mate. I hate you. So, that's my thoughts on Mudryk. That's the situation. I'll see you boys next time. See ya.
Well, comment down below, guys, what you think about this whole Mudryk situation. Is his career over? You know, would you think he will get the full 4-year length of the ban? You know, can he make a comeback? Do you wish to have Mudryk on your team, you know, when he's allowed to play again? Comment all down below. But for now, I'll see y'all guys next time. Like, subscribe. Peace.